What's going on, y'all? Hope everybody is doing well. I have a couple of news and notes kind of today and over kind of the course of the week to discuss with you guys a little bit. I know the Jaguars play a game on Saturday, so I'll be doing a preview video later today, but wanted to get out a video while I'm at work right now. And a couple of really injury updates I want to give to you guys, and I apologize for the shakiness. I don't know where my tripod is, but Jaguars have some news on James Robinson. Apparently, James Robinson is expected to be back by week 1. He's coming off of a pretty tough injury, which is an Achilles injury. I know going into the season, it was like, man, we have some rough injuries that we're going through. We have James Robinson off an Achilles. We have Travis Etienne with a Liz Frank. Jamal Agnew with a hip injury. So we're kind of wondering, okay, what's going to be the expectation for when they come back? But we know Travis Etienne is like good to go. Jamal Agnew is still kind of coming back. I didn't really see any updates on him, but he's probably expected to be back week 1, I'd imagine, because he's been going through a lot more team drills. And then, James Robinson back week 1, which is absolutely crazy. And I do think it's much needed. I mean, I think I undersold really before the season maybe how much we would need James Robinson, because I know I was so high on Travis Etienne, and then I thought, okay, we drafted Snoop Connor. He looks like he'd be a good down-the-field runner, but we haven't seen much at all from Snoop Connor. I think he's been really disappointing. I mean, he's had the opportunities, and he just hasn't broken off any, he hasn't even had any, impressive runs where, sometimes guys have these moves where, they evade a tackle or they truck somebody over, and they may only get, 5 or 6 yards, but I don't know, Snoop just hasn't had any of that, so it's been a little bit disappointing. And ETN, I think he's probably still needs a little bit of time just to learn how to run, really just follow your blockers and run in between the holes. I think he's going to be more of a lateral type of back when it comes to, getting him the ball outside the numbers, outside the hash marks, I should say, and down the field in the pass game. But then I think James Robinson is going to continue to be that just in between the tackles type of runner, the guy that sees the hole and hits it, lowers his shoulder, gets some, mows some people down. He just always finds ways to get first downs and just, get the extra yards. So that's really, really exciting news that it looks like, James Robinson will be back sooner rather than later and ready for week 1 against the Washington Commanders. Man, we're the first team to, I guess, ever play the Commanders with their new team name. Hopefully we're the first team to ever beat the Commanders too. That'd be a lot of fun. Next up, we got some updates on Devin Lloyd. Now, Devin Lloyd will be out on Saturday against the Steelers. But however, as of today, everyone's saying that, look, this is his first day that he's actually participated in team drills. He's been more just held out to the side doing some individual stuff, but now today was his first day in team drills, and he was getting some work mostly with the twos, with the backups, but he also got a little bit of work with the first string team. And man, I hope he comes back sooner rather than later. And I remember when they disclosed his injury, the first day of training camp, Doug Peterson said that, it'll probably be, he said that he's going to miss some time. He didn't have a timetable. And once he said that and it was a hamstring, I was like, okay, this is going to be at least 3 weeks until he gets on the field. Well, when he said that, that was exactly 3 weeks and 3 days ago. So I was about right on the timing, but it looks like he's kind of getting back in there. And I mean, he has, about a month to really get right and get healthy. I hope he at least gets one preseason game in there of work. But, like I said, I'm not going to force him out too early, and I'm not trying to get the Jaguars to, push the issue, too early if they don't have to. So, Devin Lloyd, he's going to have huge impacts on the Jaguars, and, really, even with him in his position, him playing linebacker, I expect him to probably be a green dot, linebacker one day, probably calling the defense, because he's going to be basically the middle linebacker in a scheme, with Aluakin playing more of that weak side role. Of course, it's, inside linebackers of a different position, kind of in a 3-4, but, he can do it all. He's sideline to sideline. He can cover. He can, run stop, and he can even pass rush a little bit. He's an exciting little chess piece, almost like a queen in chess. They can do all kinds of stuff, and they're very versatile. So they're not just one-trick ponies. So I'm excited to see Devin Lloyd back, and I think he's gonna be a beast. I still do. I felt so good about that pick during the draft, and I still think he's going to be a beast. And another note I want to touch on, this is a little bit late because it happened yesterday, but Jaguars cut nose tackle Malcolm Brown, who was actually the Jags like starting nose tackle last year, but he fell down the depth chart a little bit. Devon Hamilton overtook him, and then now the Jaguars just flat out cut him, which saves the Jaguars $3 million against the cap. And really, Malcolm Brown, he was acquired via trade for the Jaguars last year. I think it was only like a 6th-round pick. The Jaguars turned around and gave him like a new contract, but he really just didn't do much. I mean, he was like the invisible man, and I don't know if the Jaguars, if he just wasn't super, I don't know. I don't know if he was bought in. I don't know if he was just, because he played with the Saints, who's obviously a winning organization. I don't know if he just wasn't, feeling good about the Jag situation. I don't know, but, I guess he wasn't playing very good in camp. I mean, it was weird during the preseason game because, I was watching and it's like, man, Malcolm Brown's out there in the 4th quarter. Just weird seeing him out there. So, yeah, I don't know. So I think with this one, it's going to leave some room for some of our more emerging guys that like some of our draft picks. J2 Fele was drafted in the 2021 NFL draft, and also Devon Hamilton was drafted in the 2020 NFL draft. So I think each of those guys, it gives them an opportunity to really step up and kind of earn their right, not only like on the roster, but just, in the rotation, getting in there. And I hope, look, these guys are very cheap over the next 2 years, and I hope these guys are, building blocks, because that's what the draft is all about, man. The draft is all about, drafting these guys. Like, these guys are perfect examples. These guys were like 3rd, 4th round picks. Draft them and then let them, develop into good players where they're super solid rotational guys. I mean, they're not Aaron Donalds or anything like that, but, they're guys that they get into the rotation, they do their job, and, maybe the Jaguars eventually can sign them on a pretty, on a relatively affordable deal. Now, I know a lot of people, including myself, I was kind of throwing this out there, but what about the Ndamukong Suh? Because I know he's out there available, and like apparently the Jaguars might have, I don't know where the report was from, but it was floating around on Twitter that the Jaguars might have had some interest in him. And he also kind of ties back to Mike Caldwell, because Mike Caldwell, the defense coordinator of the Jaguars, was like the linebackers coach over there for the Buccaneers. So maybe they have a relationship there. But I don't know how good of a fit this is, because usually guys at this at this level at this stage in their career, I should say, are ring chasing. And, I don't know if he's going to look at the Jaguars. I don't know if he loves Doug Peterson that much to think that, we're going to be 2022 Super Bowl contenders, but, he might be kind of looking for that, but who knows, man. And I don't even know what the cap situation that the Jaguars can even afford to bring him on for a year. But I know the Jaguars looked at Sheldon Richardson to potentially come in here, but he eventually picked the Chiefs. I think it's Sheldon, it's something Sheldon, but he was on the Browns for a while, kind of an interior defensive tackle, nose tackle type of guy. But, he opted for the Chiefs because, if you choose between the Jaguars and Chiefs, sometimes it's, we're not at the point where that's a tough decision to make, but hopefully we get to that point one day. So, yeah, that's some news and notes for the Jaguars. I'm excited about Saturday because, not to bury the lead for my preview, but Doug Peterson said 2 quarters. They're basically going to play, like, I guess almost 2 quarters. So I know a lot of people get scared about injury, but last game was so much fun seeing the starters out there. Then it became not fun when Jake Luton started throwing the rock around. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys are excited. I know I am. And with all that said, thank you guys for watching. Go Jags!